All right, in this video lesson, we are going to be solving quadratic equations by factoring. Now, the quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c. As an equation, actually, we set it equal to 0. And again, it is a quadratic equation because we have this x to the power of 2, okay? So x squared, a degree 2. And we need to remember that it's ax squared plus bx plus c, where the A, the B, and the C, so the A, the B, and the C are real important for actually solving quadratic equations. Now, we're going to do it by factoring, but we're actually going to let the calculator do some of the work for us. So let me give you an example. Now, here is a quadratic equation, but the first thing that you must always do is set the equation equal to 0, all right? So this is not equal to 0. It says equals 35. Now, normally in equations when we're solving them, what we would have to do here is we would subtract 35 from the right side in order to get rid of it, because these would cancel. But then you also have to be sure to subtract 35 from the left side to keep it equal. Well, we're not subtracting 35 from any one of these two terms. We're just leaving the minus 35. So a shortcut is just to think about moving a term to the other side of the equation and changing its sign. So if it was positive, it becomes negative. If it was negative, it becomes positive, okay? So let me just write it out like that. So what we would do here, again, is we would just move the 35 over. And now my equation would say 2x squared minus 3x minus 35 equals 0. And then at this point, we have the A, we have the B, and we have the C. Okay, the A is always the term, the coefficient of x squared. The B is always the coefficient of the x to the degree 1. And the C is always this constant term, or this term that's by itself without a variable. It's a constant term. It doesn't change, okay? So as long as you remember those steps, first set it equal to 0, and then identify correctly the A, B, and the C, then we can solve quadratic equations by factoring. Okay, let's take a look at solving this one. Now, we are going to use the calculator, okay? So, or in this video lesson, we're using the calculator. So let me I'm going to have to zoom in on these calculators. The first thing you want to do is just clear your calculator, and then we're going to add calculator. We're going to do it from the calculator mode, all right? Then the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to, well, you're going to have your calculator mode. Then from calculator mode, you're going to press the menu button, okay? And then when you press that menu button, it's going to bring up these options, okay? And then from here, we're going to select algebra, or we're going to press 3, okay? And then the screen's going to look like this. All right, and then from here, we're going to press this number 3, polynomial tools. We're going to be using polynomial tools in order to answer this, okay? And then from polynomial tools, you're going to have this option right here to find the roots, and we're going to click that one, find the roots. And then when you do that, you're going to have this screen right here. And you're just going to arrow down. We're going to keep the degrees 2, the roots is real, and then we'll click the OK button. Okay, and then after you click the OK button, you're going to end up with a screen that looks like this, okay? You have these 3 options right here, okay? This is your A, your B, and your C. Or you see A to the degree 2, so that's the x to the degree 2, and then here's the coefficient with x to the degree 1, and then finally this is our constant. But that's your A, your B, and your C. So then you would enter A, B, and C. All right, and you would have your 2, your negative 3, and your negative 35 for the example that we just did. All right, and then once you do that, you hit enter a few times, and it's going to end up showing you the answer, and the answer is right over here. You have 2 answers. You have negative 7 over 2, and you have 5 for the example that we just did. And I can go through and show it again. But the reason we have 2 answers is because this is an equation. It's x squared. It crosses the x-axis in 2 points, and that's how we get the two answers. But let me go ahead and go back and show how we solve it here. So here is our example. So we had worked out an equation, and we set it equal to 0, okay? So now we need to factor this equation, okay? Normally we would use the X puzzle and we'd figure it all out, and then we'd set the factors equal to 0, but we are going to use the calculator on this. So again, first thing, let's identify our A. This is our A. All right, this is our B, and this is our C. So then from here, we're gonna pull up our calculator, and we're gonna plug in our A, our B, and our C. So in the first block here, or in the first, rectangle, we're gonna put 2. And then here we're gonna put our -3. And then here we're gonna put our -35. All right, and then this is what that looks like. We have our 2, -3, -35. Just gonna click OK. You probably click OK a couple times, and then you will see the answer. And then you can see here on the calculator that the answer is -7/2 and 5. So let me go ahead and write that down. We have a -7/2 and we have a 5. Okay? That just means when this equation is graphed, it's going to cross at the x-axis at -3.5 and then over here at 5. These are your solutions here. This would be 5 and this would be -3.5, okay? All right, and that's how you use polynomial tools to solve quadratic equations. Maybe let's take a look at one more example. All right, so in this example, we have an equation. It says 12x squared equals 45 minus 7x. All right, so this has the components of the quadratic equation, but it's not written as ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we're going to need to set this equation equal to 0. All right, now we can do this different ways. I'm going to go ahead and leave this 12x squared here on the left side, all right, which means I need to bring the 45 and the -7x over. Now, this is actually our b, okay, our -7x. So I'm going to write that next. But when this -7x comes over, when this term comes over on the other side of the equal sign, it becomes a +7x. So +7x, okay? And then when the 45 term comes over, or the c term, 45, it's going to be -45. -45. So now I know our A, our B, and the C, okay? Then I can use my calculator to plug in the value. So let me go ahead and pull that up. So again, we're going to plug in our 12, our 7, and our -45. All right, so once we plug in those values, that's what that looks like. And then once you hit enter a few times, the calculator will finally show you the answer, and you can see the answer here is -9/4 and 5/3. So -9/4 was one of our answers, and 5/3 was the other one. Now this is not an ordered pair, okay? This is just showing you the, it's just showing you the two different answers. All right. And that is a look at using polynomial tools to solve quadratic equations. Let me go ahead and list the terms, the steps on the calculator on our next page here. So again, from the calculator screen, just press menu and then 3 and then 3 and then 1 for find roots, and then just keep the degree 2 and everything the same. Click OK, and then enter your A, B, and C, and then the calculator will show you the solutions.